coming off a win, even though there's been a 2-week break, always creates an air of positivity around the club. So that's been the case. After our win against Richards Bay, the spirit has been good. And, we've managed to rest the players a bit and then focus on this week's preparations for Sundowns and looking at, our match strategy. But yeah, in terms of the mood, very, very happy. The players look relaxed, even though there may be some nerves, some anxiousness, which is normal because, 90% of these boys have never played in a game of this magnitude. So it's normal for there to be a bit of anxiety, but and that's what we are here for as coaches and the senior players as well, to calm them down and just get them to relax as much as possible and enjoy the occasion.
Coach, you're speaking of rest, and I think the whole country has this question to say, you think with Sundowns players having been on international duty that offers you a slight of an advantage?
I disagree 1,000%. Sundowns for the last 10 years have mastered the art of playing every 3 days and they've been winning. So what's going to change this time around?
They've all players available for the final?
Yeah, we've got a fully strength team in my opinion. Still maybe some fitness issues here and there. Selo Motsepe, our defender, he's out with a shoulder injury and that's long term. But yeah, the rest of the players are available.
Coach, does that matter in the cup final?
Not at all. Like I said, in 2012, I had less possession, less chances at goal. All the stats were in Sundowns' favour, but Celtics won 1-0. So that should say when it comes to a cup game, it's like the other 3 cup games we've played in. Our opponents have been the better teams. Pirates were the better team. In my opinion, TS Galaxy were the better team. And in my opinion, Richards Bay were the better team. But at the end of the day, we got the job done. We scored the most important goal that matters most in cup competitions, and we are where we are because of that. So we'll go into this game with the same positivity that anything can happen. We're up against a formidable opponent. It feels like you're actually playing the national team, because last night I watched 6 starters from Sundowns in the national team and a few on the bench. And if you look at Allende, Ribeiro and Shalulile, had they been South African, they'd probably be in the national team too. So you're not just playing Sundowns, it's like you're playing against the national team, and that's what makes this challenge all the more exciting for us as a club.
Coach, but obviously with the record that you've had, throughout this campaign, you can give yourself a little shot in this match.
Yeah, like I said, in 2012, nobody gave Celtics a chance as well, and we won it, So as long as we go and fight tooth and nail out there, and the players are prepared to do that, we will always have a chance, Even though it might seem like mission impossible, and maybe me being Tom Cruise, you go into this game thinking, Sundowns beat Arrows 5-0 in the first leg. Second leg, they beat Supersport 4-0. Third game, they beat Marumo Gallants 2-0. And you might think, Magesi's got no chance when you look at that. But the positives we can take out of that is the fact that every one of those teams also created chances against Mamelodi Sundowns. And when you play them, the only difference is whether you take those chances or not, because you'll get chances. So for us on the day, it's going to be important for us to have a little bit of luck. Defensively, we've got to be very, very resolute. And when we get the few chances we create, we need to bury them. And that's going to give us a chance to win this game.
Coach, you talked about, being defensively, up to the game. When you look at, the past 2 games that you've played, Elvis has been marshalling the defense properly and also made some crucial saves. How important is that kind of, combination between him and the defense to continue into the final?
Very good point. And that's exactly how strong we've got to be. Our defensive unit, which includes our goalkeeper. So our defensive midfielder, Dapo, our back 4 and our goalkeeper, they really got to be on top of their game in order to keep the Sundowns team out. I think if you go back a few weeks when Polokwane City beat Sundowns, that was the case as well. The defense of Polokwane won that game for them. So we've got to make sure we try to get a similar shutout in our game. And I think the fact that Elvis has been man of the match says to you that we've been dominated by our opponents. Let's not, try and sugarcoat this. We've been dominated by our opponents, and we've got to make sure that in this coming game we give Elvis a bit more protection than we've given him, especially in the last game. That's a game where he made 4 or 5 saves, but previously to that, he didn't make that many saves, or he didn't make very difficult saves in the previous 2 games. But in this game against Richards Bay, he really had to come up with some big games. So as a team, not just as a defense, we've got to offer him a little bit more protection.
Coach, you have always made reference to the journey in 2012, and obviously now you are meeting the same opponent that you met in the final. What I've picked up from the reaction was that Sundowns seem not to have gotten over the circumstances of the win, so to say, in terms of the goal and stuff.
Yeah.
Does it mean anything to you?
Not at all. They say there's no comments for results. There's no comments in the results column. 2012, the scoreline shows 1-0 to Celtics. So that's going to go down in history forever. And so will Saturday's result, regardless of what happens in the 90 minutes.
Do you use that, what happened in 2012, coach, to motivate players to say, guys, we did it with less chances compared to Sundowns back then? I mean, you have someone like Mzava, I think he won with you that time.
Yeah, we
His
definitely
importance in
use.
the centre of defence as well.
We definitely use that moment in history to try to get them to understand that this is possible. Even though, in my humble opinion, this Sundowns team is stronger than the team of 2012. But in saying so, we use those type of situations to say that there's been many an occasion where the underdog has triumphed. Many an occasion in world football, in South African football. And as long as that happens, Magesi Football Club will always have a chance to create one of the biggest upsets in football history.
You won this game.
Oh, definitely. And I know we will get a lot of support because I've been getting a lot of calls from the supporters of the Siwilele faithful. When I went back there with arrows, I'll never forget. And I've seen the same happen to Coach Steve, Kompela, and some former players who go back. And, when you've had good moments at that club, they never forget you. And it was a very special moment in my life when I went back with arrows.
Yes, but on the TV, on the ball. Yes,
and that memory will go down with me for the rest of my life.
Coach, in this whole run, you haven't been taken to extra time and penalties. Are you expecting any eventualities for Saturday? And will you have to go the extra mile?
Yeah, as coaches, we have to prepare for every eventuality, whether it's a change of system, a change of personnel in the opposition, whether it's a chance to maybe go to extra time and penalties. We have got to prepare for every eventuality, and that's exactly what we'll be doing. And yeah, we just hope that we can get the job done.
Coach, just away from the cup, having coached in the ABC team, what has that done to you as a person and your coaching career?
No, going down to the ABC, it was a breath of fresh air for me, especially at Summerfield Dynamos. I was in such a professional environment. It was an amazing experience because I didn't expect an ABC team to be run so professionally. So it was such a breath of fresh air, one of the best experiences of my coaching career. So for me, nothing else is different. There's a training field, there's an opponent, and there's a coach and players. So nothing is different. It's just the level of competition that is different. But one of the best footballing experiences of my life.
Which we talk much about the game, but there is, that 12th man coming from Malaysia. I mean, a very important part of this team from the beginning until now, and they're very vocal in terms of wanting to see the best for this team. What do you say to them heading into such a big match for them?
Yeah, I think we wouldn't be here without them. Especially last season. We went to many away games and outnumbered the away supporters because of them being present at our games. And the players are always driven and they get an extra boost of energy when their supporters are singing and chanting and rallying behind them. And we know that's going to be the case on Saturday. They're going to come in numbers again, and we really appreciate their support. And every time we go out on the pitch, is to try and win a game to make the supporters happy. I think every team does it or should do it, and we are no different. That's exactly what we'll be trying to do on Saturday.
Thank you.
Thanks, coach.
Thank you.